Now, with Christopher Nkunku and Gabriel Jesus both being injured and the start of the Premier League only being a week away, I've got 2 new drafts for you. Starting off then with the goalkeepers and defenders from the first team, I've got Onana in goal, Chilwell, Gabriel and Estupiñán in my defence. I think this is probably the best 4 defenders that you can pick in the game, like if you include the goalkeeper and those defenders. I just think Chilwell is probably worth the difference between Trent Alexander-Arnold. The thing is with Trent, whilst I do think he's going to get a good amount of attacking returns, Liverpool have not signed a centre defensive mid yet. Not only does that mean I think Trent could be playing right back, and I just don't think they're going to be any good defensively. Now, I'm not hanging my hat entirely on pre-season, and he's done all right, but Liverpool in general have looked so open just tactically. I just don't trust their defence, basically, and I'm not entirely sure how well Trent's going to do. Like I said, I don't doubt his ability to get attacking returns, but I think the fact that Liverpool are yet to sign a good centre defensive midfielder to replace Fabinho, and obviously Henderson, who could play there as well, I'm just not sure on Liverpool defensively. Okay, it gets a bit juicier when we go into the midfield and strikers. So I've gone for Martinelli. I think the Gabriel Jesus injury benefits Martinelli in the sense that he's going to play more minutes. A lot of people speculating as to whether Havertz or Trossard will play the false 9. I'm not really interested in either of those players because I think their limits, are their minutes and their attacking returns. I don't think they're going to do as well as the likes of Martinelli and Saka anyway. But Martinelli, I think his minutes improve with no Jesus, so I think he's a great option. And looking at those opening 3, Forest, Crystal Palace and Fulham, I don't really think you can ask for too much better. Bruno Fernandes, I think he's going to have a stellar season. He's on the penalties and free kicks for Man United, plays every game for 90 minutes. I think this new rule of games running to their full 90 minutes, like the added time is actually counted, like they did at the start of the World Cup. I think that's only going to serve to benefit, 90-minute men like Bruno Fernandes. Saka, sort of same token as Bruno, really on the penalties, looks really bright in pre-season. I think he's going to have a kick on from last season and do even better for Arsenal. And Mbumo is my pick of the 6.5 million mids. I just think the fact he's on the free kicks and penalties and going to take that talismanic role off of Tony. And then Rashford, I think comparing him and Son's quite close at the moment. I'm going to go for Rashford just because he's playing for the better team. And I think the opening fixtures are slightly better for him, but that could well be Heung-min Son, to be honest. Watkins just directly replaces Gabriel Jesus in this team for me, really. I think ignoring that Newcastle fixture, Everton and Burnley after that, Villa looking, a new team basically with the signings they've made. I think he could do really well this season. And yeah, ignoring that first fixture against Newcastle, which of course he could score in, Everton and Burnley are 2 fantastic fixtures. And then the shoe-in of Erling Haaland up front. Areola remains in goal as the 4 million keeper. Henry, my pick of the 4.5s, but you could have Colwill too. I'm just not sure that Colwill's going to start every game. Baldock is my pick of the 4 million defenders, just playing at wing back, being the most attacking basically. And you could have any of the 4.5 million forwards. A quick look at my second draft then. So I've gone for Sam Johnston in goal. For me, he's my pick of the 4.5 million goalkeepers. I feel like Palace are going to be pretty decent defensively, and Sam Johnston's got a good chance of making a fair few saves. I also needed the 0.5 million, so I had to downgrade Onana to Johnston. Chilwell, Gabriel and Estupiñán are the defence in this team. As I said with the previous draft, I think for 3 defenders, this is probably the most solid 3 you can pick to start. The midfield and forwards is where this team gets a bit interesting. I've gone for Foden, a 7.5 million mid. You could have Maddison, or you could go down a little bit cheaper to the 7 millions, or even someone like Eze at 6.5. I really like the upside that Phil Foden offers, though. I feel like this team is slightly riskier than the other ones, so Foden fits the mold of a bit of a risky pick, basically. But I think his minutes are going to be really strong this season. Looking at his underlying numbers last season, he was up there with some of the premium midfielders. The only limiting factor on Phil Foden last season was, of course, his minutes. But with the sale of Mahrez, I feel like Foden's either going to play on the right wing or in the midfield to sort of cover for Gundogan. I just really like him as an option, and I think he's going to do really well this season. And if you ignore that Newcastle fixture, which I don't actually think is too bad, his fixtures to start the season are absolutely ridiculous, and I think there's a good level of attacking returns to be expected. And just looking at that bench as well, I feel like Rico Henry and Baldock, whilst they're not absolutely, desirable players, I think they could fill in nicely if one of these guys got benched. Bruno Fernandes, Saka and Mbumo, I've spoken about them on my previous draft. I just think they're 3 of the best midfielders you can go for. And I've managed to fit in Mo Salah purely because I think that game week 2 captaincy is really quite inviting. You know, Haaland's got Newcastle, tough fixture. They were literally the best defence in the league for goals conceded last season. Salah's got Bournemouth at home. You'll remember what happened when Liverpool played Bournemouth last season. I think they won 9-0. Salah didn't get a single attacking return. For me, that just excites me for the opportunity of him playing Bournemouth again. I think he's going to be reinvigorated to actually get some attacking returns in that game. And judging by how it went last season, I don't think there's any way he's going to be avoiding them. One thing to mention about Salah is in pre-season, his returns have been much more favoured towards assists than actual goals. That's not the player that we remember Salah being. You know, he's that sort of selfish goal scorer, and hopefully he can return to that kind of form this Premier League season, because I'm going to need him to if I go with this draft. Ultimately, I think he's a great option to go against Haaland in game week 2. João Pedro is really the key to this team. 5.5 million forward. I think he's the cheapest forward that I'd expect to start and actually score you some points, and it's obviously a bit of a risk going for him, a bit of a minutes risk, but he's signed for Brighton as a club record fee. He's had a fantastic pre-season, certainly in my opinion, and he can play in any position along the front line, which I think will only serve to benefit him. And then Erling Haaland is a shoe-in as captain. The bench remains the same. Henry is my pick of the 4.5 million defenders, purely because of the Fulham and Crystal Palace games after game week 1. If you need him, I think those are 2 good fixtures to be playing him. And then Bulldog is the best 4 million defender in my opinion. Alright, and that's the end of the video. A couple more drafts there to sink your teeth into. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by leaving a like rating. Also, let me know in the comments if you think these drafts could be improved in any way. I mean, I'd be interested in seeing your opinion. And yeah, subscribe to the Goal and Goal channel, which I think is just about there if you want to see some more content. So I'll see you in the next video.